Thousands of years ago, the Greek philosopher Plato imagined a strange and unsettling thought experiment. He called it the Allegory of the Cave. Imagine a world beneath the earth, a vast cave. Outside, beyond the entrance, the sun shines over mountains, rivers, trees, and the living world. But deep inside the cave, there are prisoners. They have been there since childhood, chained, unable to turn their heads, unable to look behind them. All they can see are shadows dancing on the wall before them. Behind the prisoners burns a fire, and between the fire and the prisoners, strange puppet masters move objects before the flames. A horse, a vase, human figures, birds. The prisoners cannot see the real objects. They see only the shadows, and because they have never known anything else, the shadows become their reality. They argue over them, study them, even reward those who can best predict which shadow will appear next. To them, the cave is not a prison, it is the world. But one day, something changes. One prisoner breaks free. At first, he can barely stand. The chains fall from his wrists. He turns around for the very first time, and what he sees confuses him. The shadows on the wall were not real. There were objects behind him all along. He stares in bewilderment at the puppet masters, at the strange figures moving before the fire, and then he sees the fire itself, his first glimpse of light. It hurts his eyes, but he cannot look away. Slowly, cautiously, he begins walking deeper through the cave passage, toward the distant opening, toward something brighter. The closer he gets to the surface, the more painful the light becomes. He shields his eyes. He stumbles. The world outside overwhelms him. At first, he can see only shadows and reflections. He kneels beside a puddle and sees himself for the first time. Then slowly, his eyes begin to adjust. He looks around in amazement. Trees, grass, wind, clouds, living creatures, a real horse, a real vase. Not shadows, but reality itself. And finally, he lifts his eyes upward and sees the sun, the source of all light, the source that made everything else visible. For the first time in his life, he understands. The prisoner laughs, runs, skips across the fields, overcome with wonder at the beauty of the world beyond the cave. But then, he remembers the others, still chained below, still staring at shadows. And so he returns to the cave to tell them what he has found. But when he enters the darkness again, the prisoners mock him. They say the journey ruined his eyes. They laugh at his strange stories about another world, about truth, about light. And when he tries to free them, they grow angry, hostile, violent. The prisoners would rather kill the man who escaped than question the shadows they have always known. So the freed prisoner turns and walks sadly back toward the light, never to return. But Plato's story was never really about caves, or chains, or shadows on stone walls. It was about us. Today, the cave looks different. The shadows have changed. Now the puppet masters live behind glowing screens. They compete for your attention, your outrage, your loyalty. They tell you what to fear, what to consume, what to believe, what political tribe to join, what causes deserve your anger, what music to listen to, what opinions are acceptable, what to wear, how to conform, how to obey. And everywhere, people walk through glowing cities with blue light reflected in their eyes, mistaking algorithms, headlines, feeds, influencers, and endless outrage for reality itself. The modern cave does not chain the body, it chains the mind, and the shadows have never been more convincing. Plato understood something timeless. Most people do not want the truth. They want comfort, they want certainty, they want familiar shadows. Because turning toward the light is painful. It demands courage, it demands questioning, it demands the willingness to leave behind everything you once believed was real. And yet, the invitation remains, just as it did thousands of years ago, to turn away from the shadows, to step outside the cave, to look upward, and to ask yourself, what will it take for you to look up from the screen and see the light?